So this is something that black should prevent, and that's why he plays c4, and after capture on c4 he capture on e5. But here I analyzed a bit with the computer, and I don't think that b3 is the right move because he's weakening his pawn structure. I think it's much more to the point to play bishop to b3. Not only are you threatening bishop to a4 here, but also the pawn on e5 is sometimes in price, isn't it? So for example, queen c5 check, and after bishop e3 we have knight f4, sorry, queen f2, forcing the queen to move. And here immediately you see the queen can't move back to c6, and if it moves to c8, then immediately we can hit it with knight a4, forcing the queen to c7 and bishop b6. Then the knight can move into c5, and suddenly we have the much better game, clear advantage, and maybe some would say lost position for black, and this is maybe what is the correct assessment here. So I believe that white has the better game after bishop b3, threatening knight a4, bishop a4, and queen captures e5. But instead Kamsky played b3, and here after rook d8, rook a to d1, then the queen had to protect the pawn on e5, knight came into f4, and it doesn't give any sense, you know, to capture that knight. Of course we need the black squared bishop. This is much better to keep it. And then after bishop captures e2, king e7 and b4, then black, he has to sacrifice his rook now. But I think that white is better here. If he doesn't sacrifice the rook, then those pawns on the queen side, he will win in the long run. And this is of course white's strategy when he played all this with a5 and stuff. He's playing on the queen side, getting the better ending. So he has to sacrifice the exchange here. But after bishop d5, I think he could have played better. After bishop d2, I think that white should immediately hit the bishop on d5, not allowing the bishop to stay there. Later in the game you will see that the bishop is very safe placed on d5, and then he's alright. But here the point is that we still have a rook on the first rank, so there is no mate. He can't play rook c8 and rook c1 and stuff, so the bishop has to move, and then we start to attack the bishop because it's unsafe there. After rook c8, rook b6, if we are forcing the bishop back to e8, then of course we have the much better game. I'm sure you notice that. So if the bishop moves back to d5, we have g3, and not fearing to the exchange because there is no mate any longer on the first rank. So we have rook a7 check, and after king f6 we have rook b to b7, and there is no bishop e3 because rook captures f7 is with a check. If the king was on g6, then we would have had bishop e3. So this was the turning point, I believe. After c4 I prefer white. He has the better game, and the question is whether this is 100% waterproof for black. I don't think so. But after rook captures a6 instead, we had rook c8 coming. There was a check, bishop d3. Then white doesn't really come to c4, because if he played c4 here immediately, then we see the points that we were just talking about. For the first, there is a check and mate on c1 in case of rook b7 now, and after g3 then the king has time to escape, because after rook b7 we have a check and we have bishop e3, so that rook captures f7 is not with a check, so that this rook on a7 has to move, and black is better. So bishop d3, and now black is totally safe here, because white doesn't really come to c4. It's not the same anymore, and yeah, you see here with everything blocked, then Topalov improved his position, and then the rook is not better than the bishop because there is nothing to attack, and when you have nothing to attack, then black is just as good as white. I mean, you have to have coordination in your pieces, and here you have nothing to play for, and this is also why they here took a repetition of moves and getting into the draw. But a well-played game, an interesting game, a fighting game, and I am looking forward to see Topalov with the white pieces